A Darby student apologizing in court for causing distress after making social media threats.
A skier who disappeared over the weekend near Whitefish is still missing tonight.
And science students from Hot Springs are reaching for the stars with a chance to work with NASA.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. All of our minds are on school safety right now because of the events of the past week, and that includes here in western Montana. We've seen 2 instances of local school threats, and Missoula County public school officials are discussing how best to keep students safe from mass shootings like the one in Florida. We begin tonight in the Bitterroot, where a Darby High School student accused of making threatening social media posts about shooting students says he's sorry for scaring people and says he regrets what he did.
18-year-old McLean Kaiser appeared in Ravalli County Justice Court this afternoon. He is charged with 2 felonies for those threats. Ravalli County prosecutors have charged him with 1 felony count of intimidation and a felony count of assault with a weapon after a number of witnesses reported conversations and social media posts where he made direct threats toward the school and referenced that deadly shooting in Florida last week. According to court documents, Kaiser made statements to about 10 students early last week that they should wear certain colors to avoid being shot at school. Then after the Florida school shooting last week, he referenced that specifically in a social media post saying, quote, "coming soon to Darby." Kaiser admitted to the statements he made in the hallway at school. This is what he told investigators, that he viewed this as a joke. In court today, the judge said he considered Kaiser a serious threat to the community and set his bail at $50,000. If he does make bail, he is prohibited from going on school property or initiating contact with people at the school. His parents were in court today. They agreed to remove firearms from the home, and Kaiser's next court appearance is expected to be sometime in March. Meanwhile, Missoula County public school officials tell KPAX they have deemed a threat made by a Big Sky High School student to be a low-level threat. MCPS spokesperson Hatton Littman tells KPAX a student received a verbal threat while exiting a class on Thursday. The threat was immediately reported to Big Sky High School administration. Littman says the threat assessment team, consisting of school counselors, the SRO, and administrators, reviewed the threat and followed district protocol when it comes to investigating these things. She says after a thorough investigation, the threat assessment team determined this threat was a low-level threat and it was not a viable one. She could not disclose any disciplinary action that the student may be facing, citing student confidentiality laws, but did say school administration had taken the appropriate steps. Littman reiterated to KPAX that MCPS takes every threat seriously, saying safety is their top priority.
And the issue of school safety coming up tonight as Missoula County Public School trustees and administrators discussed safety in the district. Parents who were there brought up concerns about communication with the school after those threats at Big Sky High School weren't made known to parents right away.
It was really disheartening to find out on social media about the issue that happened at Big Sky. I think it would have been very beneficial to have some kind of communication.
And communication was the key topic tonight as trustees and administrators talked about the work that's already being done to ensure student safety and questioned if it was enough. Prevention was also discussed as trustees stressed that an atmosphere of inclusion has to be a top priority, as well as programs to address mental health needs that might come up. Trustees talked through possible scenarios and if students and teachers are currently trained to respond if they hear a threat or an active shooter. Superintendent Mark Thane said they are working to get all staff to take active shooter resistance training. He said an annual crisis plan is also being created and is reviewed every year for each school. Our other top story tonight, the longtime Flathead Valley physician who disappeared while skiing near Big Mountain over the weekend is still missing tonight.
And crews continue that extensive search today. Flathead County Sheriff Chuck Curry says they are going to be back at it again come daybreak. This missing skier has been identified as 62-year-old Dr. Jonathan Scott Torgerson from Columbia Falls. Torgerson is a longtime physician at North Valley Hospital, as well as an experienced backcountry skier.
3 whistles, positive find. Single whistle is just location, find the rally point. Any other communication issues? This is a big group.
The search is now in its 4th day. It's centered in an out-of-bounds area just to the northeast of the Whitefish Mountain Ski Resort. That search got off to a tough start on the weekend after high winds, snow, and low visibility hampered efforts significantly both in the air and on the ground. Several organizations, including Search and Rescue, the Nordic Ski Patrol, Two Bear Air Rescue, and other volunteers, are involved in this search. Turning to weather, we do have frigid temperatures across the region. Although it has warmed up some, it was still a pretty chilly day for most of the area. area. For more on that, let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Aaron Yost with our first forecast now. Aaron.
Yeah, this morning, a lot of us starting off with record lows. Some areas approaching 40 below zero. Polebridge, we did it. 41 below was that official morning low. At least we had some sunshine to go along with it. That's the silver lining. Hamilton earlier today, First Security Bank ICAM. You can see a big lack of cloud cover out there right now, and that is setting the stage for another very cold night. I'm expecting temperatures to definitely dip below zero once again. I'm just hoping they're not going to be quite as cold as what we saw out there this morning. With that said, we will continue with this well below average temperature trend here for the next couple of days. Looking at a warm up come this weekend. At the same time, a potent system could be moving in. I've got those details coming up in the forecast.
It's an effort targeted at raising money to save some of the most historic artwork in western Montana. Yet it's also bringing different faiths together with a reminder of the values they all share. The inspiration came to Janice Cates 2 years ago, but it wasn't until recently the idea of producing a full presentation of inspirational music with a choir and orchestra started to gel.
And then gradually it just grew. It grew from the 3, 4 of us, 5 of us into now we have over 100 people who are participating, and it's so beautiful that the music speaks for itself. But I consider it a true miracle.
That's not really an understatement. In a time when the world is so full of animosity and fighting, local Christians are coming together, raising their voices in a program designed to inspire.
And we have united Methodists and Catholics and Latter-day Saints, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, all together singing this music that we all relate to because we all love the Lamb of God, Jesus Christ.
That's the name of the program. The 80-voice choir, which will be joined by a full orchestra, is practicing underneath the historic dome at the Catholic St. Ignatius Mission.
What I love about it is that we can take so many diverse religions and personal beliefs and all come together in a unity of faith and be able to sing and harmonize not only with the music but with our souls. I think that's what the message of Jesus Christ really brings to us, is that if there's one thing that means to be a Christian, and that is to love your brothers and your sisters.
And there's the history tie-in. The upcoming performances here and in Missoula will raise money with the project to save and restore the century-old murals, 58 panels telling the gospel story.
This is one of the most beautiful edifices, and to be able to, when everyone hits their note perfectly on pitch and they swell with the music, and then it just resonates. There's been moments where I've been in tears because of it, and it's so powerful. I love it.
We want to restore this church. It is so gorgeous. It's beautiful. You know, people come from all over the world to see it, and we want it to be pristine.
Dennis Bragg, MTN News, St. Ignatius. Practices will continue every Saturday through March 17th with an open invitational for people to join. Then the performances will start in March 18th. We'll have those details on our website.
Well, the cold weather that we're experiencing can be pretty tough on our cars, from the batteries to tire pressure. It's really important to know what your car can and can't do and how to take care of it when the temperature dips below zero.
Connor McCauley hit the streets today to talk to some mechanics about how to keep the old jalopy reliable during this cold weather.
Every car is different, so each car should be treated accordingly in these weather conditions. Some basic rules can apply to each car, though, when it comes to sub-freezing temps. First question for local mechanic Tim Little: should you warm up your car before taking off in the morning?
Well, that varies from manufacturer to manufacturer, but in this type of weather, we kind of recommend it. Your car needs a few minutes to get things flowing and get things warmed up.
Next up, another big question: tire pressure.
I'd recommend checking them, and especially when it's cold like this, the air molecules are smaller, so they can leak past the rim. A lot of these tires don't have tubes anymore, so it's a good idea to keep on them. Just, once a month, have them checked.
And how about your battery?
Fully charged battery will not freeze. One that is broken down and not charged up well has a potential to freeze, and then obviously they don't work.
Oil levels, antifreeze, other engine fluids, and even windshield wiper fluid levels should also be checked. Even if you haven't done so yet, you should still check them during this cold weather.
If your car hasn't been serviced for a while, get that fluid checked now, and all your fluids and things to make sure you don't have any leaks. These cold temperatures shrink hoses, make coolants leak. I think we just did one this morning that had a coolant leak. It was due to a hole in a hose.
Connor McCauley, MTN News, Missoula.
Well, Erin is back. Well, there you go. Make sure you download this weather app. It is very handy. It follows you wherever you go, and you can have Erin at your fingertips. In fact, she's coming up next, talking more about the frigid and mostly dry forecast for the rest of the work week.
And Hot Springs science students have the opportunity of a lifetime, a little bit of space in their life. Stay with us here on KPAX.